Is it doing anything?
No.
There it goes.
Oh,
Howdy
there.
doody, folks. We are going to talk about renderings and how we kind of take our normal project file or start a new project file in Revit and use Enscape to kind of make up a pretty picture, I suppose. Now, the first thing we're going to do, and you guys ask questions, just interrupt whenever you want. We will make it work. The first thing we're going to figure out when you find out you got to do a rendering of a certain project in a certain building, you're going to get all the information you need, what colors the client wants, any sort of certain views. And the more questions you can ask about this kind of thing off the top from the client, the better, or from your PM. And then they can ask or they should know, whatever it is. Next thing you're going to do, though, once you have all the information, is figure out if this job is already in Revit. Some are, some aren't. Especially with these garden styles, sometimes there's so many years in between when we draw them and they get their funding together and KHC comes through. There's all these different factors that we never really see. So like we know that's why sometimes we're visiting jobs that we did in 2018 all in AutoCAD. And then they say, oh, hey, we need a rendering. So in that case, you kind of got to figure out if the project was not done in Revit, you got to figure out if the units are already in Revit, which of course we have our standard detail file. Ask your PM, they should know. Look around, see if you can find something very similar. Otherwise, you're modeling the units and you're modeling the buildings like we always, do to start a normal project. You kind of want to start with, a relatively modeled project. Trim, gutters, fascia, downspout, all that good stuff we want to start with. If the project was done in Revit, you're good. I've got to do one for this Lower Hunter's Trace, which is a Marion job. We did it in Revit. We've been done with it for a few months. Now they came back and said they wanted a rendering. So if it's already done in Revit, you're just going to save a copy to your desktop, like we've been talking about. I want a complete copy. Save it to your desktop. You're going to change the name. Normally it says let's say like job number, job title, ARC, R20 or R22, whatever it is. We want it to say render R20 or R22. Got that? It's just a naming convention. So when you save it to your desktop, just name it that. And then you are going to hit collab. Well, I can't do it from you because I already collaborated this, but you're going to hit the collaborate button up here. It should be next to this work sets button. I sent this to Abby the other day in a screenshot. I can pull it up. It looks like this. Looks like that. And then you're going to load it to the BIM 360 under the project folder, just like you would. You're going to need to either find folder structure for BIM 360 on your desktop. I don't know if everybody has that extension or not. If not, you got to kind of go on the browser. If you just type in BIM 360, it'll take you to the web page. You log in and then find the project. And here you can type it in. I would type in Lower Trace. It's right there. You click on it, take it here, click the three dots, add subfolder, and you're going to want to make a folder called rendering. I just did this and uploaded it because watching files upload is tedious and I wanted to save some time. But you're basically going to upload it into this rendering file. Again, if the project is not done in Revit, you got to model it and then do this the way it goes. Once we've done that, we've kind of got, this is just our normal file. What we need are this CAD site and whichever building we're rendering. I'm going to show you guys how to do a single building render. Multi-building and site renders can be a little trickier, and if you have to do those, let's talk about it later. I normally 95% of the time just get away with doing a single building render, and you fix it up and it gets the point across and everybody's cool. So I'm gonna figure I need the CAD site plan, I need whichever building I'm gonna render. Let's just, I don't know, what do I want to do? This one's kind of ugly, but it's kind of different. Yeah, let's just do that one. We're just going to do type A here. Everything else I'm going to delete. Again, this is in the render file. You're not deleting anything in the parent file whatsoever. I don't really care if you delete scope boxes necessarily. We don't need it. On. Don't need it. Hope I missed a building. Come on. Here we go. Just hit and delete. As soon as this stops fencing. Come on. Just hit delete. So it's going to think. There we go. So, yeah, we don't need that, whatever that is. Really, I know I've got some, this is set up with our site plan stuff and all of our railings and that. Don't need any of that either. All I need is this. So now I'm going to place this site plan. Probably easiest to do on the coordination plan if we can swing it. Is that it? That doesn't look right. Oh, come on. Where are we? There we go. I can just hide the roof. It's fine. I'm going to rotate this around. I'm going to place the site plan oriented to the building that's already modeled on the site. I don't want to do anything else other than get this orthogonal here. So you're going to go place. You're going to click on straight line. Now we're going to move this. If your civil engineer is any good, this should match up pretty good. So now we got to model the site. This is kind of what it's going to look like at the end. This is one I did for Lakeview Westgate. We don't need to model the entire site unless you're doing a whole site rendering, which again, we're not talking about today. You just need a little piece of it. There are a couple of components to this. We've got the site drive. Notice that I put it 7 inches below grade. Just gives all this a little bit of depth. Curb, which I put 1 inch below grade. Sidewalk, which I put 4 inches. I really put oh, that's the grass. Sorry, no. Sidewalk, which I put also 1 inch below grade. So the same as the curb. And then the grass kind of around it. One thing you'll notice is that I need to cut out all the rest of this stuff here. Like you don't want to just like have, like if it was just like a straight sheet of grass like this, you would start to see this kind of show through. It would look like it actually would. The parking lot's actually going to look in 20 years or whatever when there's crabgrass and whatever growing in the concrete. I don't know, whatever. But you want to cut out the portion that is going to have sidewalks and curbs in the drive and all that stuff. So you just trace. You're just going to go. I've got too many of these open. You're just going to go around here and you're going to hit FL for floor. And you're going to start to trace. Now, I'm going to reckon I do not have my grass or my site drive in here to start. That's okay. What we need to do is open up one of these other projects. I'm about to do this on this lower Hunter's Trace render, which again is under 21 MR02 in Revit 20. You can steal these off of there. That's okay. You're going to go to Manage, Transfer Project Standards. I'm going to pick this out of... I just did this guy, so let's do that. And I don't mind to start at the very beginning of the project. I don't mind if you just transfer all this stuff in. There's a lot that you don't need. The important things are materials.
Will that work
floors,
for 2022 Revit to transfer or not?
I knew that question was coming. Let's talk about that. We are going to, if the job was done initially in Revit 20, keep it in Revit 20.
Okay.
Just keep it. Once again, if we're going to save these in the project folder with the regular Revit file and all that, they've all got to be the same Revit year. We can't mix and match.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, too much of a pain in the ass if the job is already done in 20 to save it, upgrade it, upload it. It's time that we don't need to spend on like this. Now, if the job's already done in 22, or if it's a new job, if it's a new job, I don't really care what you do. Like if it's like an AutoCAD job that you're Revitizing for the first time, I guess put it in 22. You'll need to talk to me or Warren, and we'll need to make you a new project on BIM 360 for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get you set up there. The transferring, the actual transferring though, you will need to save a copy of, say, like this project, this Lower Hunter's Trace project, to your desktop and upgrade it to 22 before you can transfer those project standards over.
Okay.
Ideally, we're keeping all of this in 20 because ideally we've got every job going forward that we're going to render in Revit. Let's talk about it if not, though. Okay.
Okay.
So again, we're really looking for these floor types here because that'll have the grass, the site, the drive, the curb, and the sidewalk. We're also gonna want some of these other things though, like wall types. Oh, what I'm saying is if you want to transfer all this stuff in at the very start of the project, go for it. Afterwards, if you've started like playing with materials, which we're going to talk about here in a second, only transfer in the things that you want to transfer in. You know what I mean? For expediency, I'm just going to pull in the floor types right now because that'll be quicker. And you're gonna, I want to overwrite or new only is self-explanatory. It is up to you what you want to do with that. If you want to overwrite all the floor types that are already in here, do it. If not, then do new only. I'm gonna overwrite because I don't really care what floor types are already in here. Oh, I also wanted to get materials too. I forgot to check that. We'll do that here in a second. So you're transferring in the project standards for the floor types and the materials. And it's going to take a second. There we go. Sorry, I'm just going to do this again for materials. There we go. Usually the way I'll do this, and I'm not going to sit here. This is the tedious part, is tracing all this. the way I'll do it is I'll do the drive first because it's kind of the first big like hole. You know, you're gonna go just around like the outside of this paved area. And again, if we looked at the one that I did on Lakeview at Westland, I didn't do the whole thing. I just did a piece of it, just enough to get a good image from it. So I would probably like hit FL, find site drive, and then I'm just gonna start tracing. Get as much as you think you want. You can kind of be a little justly faithful, I guess. Maybe you can cheat a little bit if you want on this.
Can you not copy those line weights and then when you're in your boundary line, paste those lines in instead of tracing?
Yes. In this example, though, we've got it. I mean, I've got to get one first, though, right? Like I've got to get, like, say, the drive. So, like, let's just say I just went through and traced through this whole drive. Got it done. It's in there. To do the curb, I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to go in and copy these lines, start a new floor, paste them in, and then start offsetting at 6 inches to get this curb.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, like, if I was gonna start doing the curb, I would just start doing something like that. I think even area, I tend to do, like, if I see like an area like this that doesn't have a curb and I really want that to show up, I tend to put it in anyway, just because it looks better. Again, we can cheat on this stuff. It's an image, it's a feeling, it's, you know, it's kind of ephemeral. So we don't have to be super duper obedient to like a little detail like that. Like somebody forgot to put in a curb, or maybe there's a reason there's not a curb there. I have no idea. Always make sure you're closing your, you know, your floor, things, whatever. Again, I'm not going to sit here and just trace this. That would be super boring. But you get all those things done. And again, once you get to the grass, I usually go drive, curb, sidewalk, grass. Like I'm just gonna do like a big old square and then copy in like the outside bound of this, so I can cut that hole in it. Call like that. That's what we want in the end. We want a big old hole in the grass. And then we want, you know, we want these guys to sit inside of it. Now, you might say, Chris, I don't have time to trace a whole new site. All of these parking lots look exactly the same anyway. Can I just copy in one that we've already done? The answer is probably yes. Talk to your project manager about it. See what you guys want to do. Honestly, I've used this exact parking lot for like 7 of these. I just copy it in, and I've already got materials set. I've already got like these like the -7 inches for the drive set. I've got the sidewalk and the curb at -1. Got the grass at -4. Easy. But, you know, if the site is different enough, or you want to do something a little bit different with it, you know, this is how you do it. You get the CAD in, you trace it, and we just get a bunch of different floors in here. Let's see. Then once you're done with that, I'll show you on this file. You want to make sure that these materials are what you want them to be. If you're just copying it off another project, that should be all right. But this, if you go into edit type and go into structure, edit, and then all these really should only have like one thing, whatever you call this, one item, one component. You're just going to click on this little box here. This appearance tab is where you change that, and we've got all kinds of little images in a couple of different places that we can pull from, for grass, for the concrete, for brick, for siding, for whatever, for anything you want. We probably got it. So let's take a look at that real quick. The Studio A wide one is in X, Revit, Materials, and then there's just all these folders in here. Vegetation would probably be a good one for grass. Hey, look, we've got grass. That's kind of a very light looking grass. I kind of like the one I already had in there. The point is we've got options. So here, I'm gonna drop this link in here. Of course, it's not all encompassing. There's always times that we need different things. I've also got my own folder. Here. Those two locations have a lot of different things. So look through there before you start messing around with anything else. If you really need like the grass to be darker or the pavement to be a very specific kind of gray, that's totally okay. There is a program called paint.net. It's kind of a very basic Photoshop type program. It's free. You can download it. I would recommend you download it. Anyway, even if you're not doing the renderings, it's kind of just a useful photo editor. You can open whatever image file you want in here. And play around with it just like you would in Photoshop. Like, for example, road pavement. I've got road pavement here. I want to make this darker, so I'm going to go into my adjustments. Sure, we'll do this, I guess. And just turn down the brightness, and now we've got a darker pavement. The other thing you could do, if I wanted this to be green for some god-awful reason, you can do duplicate layer, not duplicate layer, new layer. Where is my color wheel? Oh, it's all the way over here for some reason. Pick a color. You can always, do your RGB, figure out exactly what folks want. I'm gonna make pink pavement. Why not? Just dump the bucket onto there. Hit the wrench down here and do multiply. Now I've got pink pavement. You can do this with siding. You can do stuff with brick. If you guys have ever used Photoshop before, it's a lot of the same kind of stuff. So I can also help you guys make some of these. If you want me to, just let me know. But I would download this paint.net. It's a nice, free, easy thing. You'll put that in like the generic image, that thing. You just click on the name and find it in the browser. The only other part of this we might use is the bump. This is just a sort of a black and white image that gives it some texture. And I've got a lot of these for siding. It looks like we got one for the grass there. Yeah, see, so I guess we did fiber cement panels at one point. I did a nice little black and white. All I did was I took this into that paint.net and made it black and white, adjusted the levels a little bit, and the rendering program can kind of read the black as a indentation in it, just like it would be in real life with the two panels like butting up to each other. That's all it is. Just know those are there. You can use them if we have them, or make them again in Paint.net or Photoshop if you so choose. That's a weird one. I wouldn't do the color ones. That was a weird phase of mine that I thought worked, but I don't think it did. Yeah, so that's pretty much that on the site. Once you get done with the site, you're going to go ahead and set the view. You're going to go. I always do it with the little drop down next to the 3D view and go camera. I know that the client kind of wants this like this ish. And now we've got a 3D view here again. We're going to pretend that I've done the site here like I was explaining earlier. You can look at some of the other ones I've done. I think I usually do like eye elevation at like 6 feet and the target elevation at like 18. You want it in perspective. I think that's the only thing I change, and that just sort of brings you up kind of at eye level. And you can play around with the box and whatnot, get it kind of where you want it to be. And now, like once you have, I like to set the view now so I can kind of look at it as I'm doing the materials on the building, placing people, all the stuff we're going to go over next. It's just good to have this base point to look back at and understand how the image that you're making is coming together. So once we've done that, and that will be in this 3D view one, you can always find that in your browser. There will be a 3D view, 3D views. There you go. It's right there. You can name it. 29th. I can't say I'm always good at remembering to rename that, but it does help trying to figure out if you've got multiple views in there, if you're playing around with a couple different options, whatever it is. So now we're going to start playing around with the close out a few of those things. We're going to start playing around with some of the materials. I don't know what that is. So we've got brick, we've got siding, we've got trim, we've got all of our normal stuff here. Gutters, roofs, all this stuff. And again, we've got all of this in those 2 server locations I just dropped in the chat. Take a look. If there's something that you want that you don't see, either make it yourself or talk to me and we'll get to making it. But it's the same thing like I just showed you for the site materials. You're going to go into edit type. You're going to hit edit on structure. You're going to hit the little box next to the finish. And you're going to go to the appearance tab. See, this is what happens when it can't find the path to this to the image that we want to place across the rendering. So I'm going to click on the name. I'm going to navigate to my we keep forgetting we put this in standards. I'm going to navigate to my doodad library. And I've got all kinds of siding here. This is lap, right? Yeah, it's lap. What's the green? Let's do green. Why the hell not? It's going to show you that here. Now, if you click on this image here, like click on the actual image, not just the name, it'll pull this up, and you can kind of the main thing I will do here is change the scale. Like if you kind of just got to count. Like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these laps here. If I want them to be 8 inches, which I think I do, because that's what we have there, 10 laps times 8 inches is 80 inches. I'm just going to change the height to, there we go. And now that will actually like scale that image so that we have an 8-inch lap instead of whatever we had before. You can do it with a 4-inch, you can do it with a 10, whatever you want. You don't need a different material, or at least a different image for it. You can modify that in Revit. So I'm going to hit done. I don't have a bump on this. I think I have one. Do I? I can't remember if I do a bump on this. Doesn't look like it. That's okay. But that's where you would put the _B or _bump file if we want it. Just gonna hit OK. It'll change it in the Revit model. It'll also change it in Enscape once we get to there. So you're going to do that for all of these materials. You're going to look at it for the brick. You're going to look at it for the trim. The trim, yeah, just look at it. It should just be white. That's almost always what we do. The gutters, the roof is an important one that I forget about sometimes. I guess these columns you can take a look at. Again, all you're going to do is hit edit type. Where's our material? Well, it doesn't look like these columns have material, so that's good. Course scan. We're just going to see how I don't think I've rendered a column yet. Anyway, for the roof, edit type, edit structure, hit find the finish, hit that box, update the images in this dialog. Now let's just say that we've done all that. We modeled the site. We're ready to get an actual image here. This is where this gets really easy. You go to this Enscape tab here. If you don't have that, you need Enscape downloaded on your computer and you need to talk to Chad. You're going to go to the Enscape tab. You're going to find this drop down. You're going to find whatever, if I've got multiple projects open, so there's a bunch of things showing. But you're going to find what view you want. Let's do the Lakeview at Westgate one because I know that one's done. We'll do 3D view 2. I think that's what it did. You're just going to click on it. You're going to hit start, and it's going to start Enscape. And this is here. I'm going to switch my screen here. It's just going to pop up this Enscape loading screen. And we're going to wait for it. %, 70%, 90%. No? Come on. I think this is going slowly because I'm sharing my screen. There we go. Well, this is a little close, but it renders all these materials kind of in this thing, and you can fly around. It's got the controls up here somewhere. It's basically the A, S, D, W keys. And E to go up and down. Mouse to look around. The one thing to know is if you adjust the view in Enscape, it will not adjust your view in the Revit file, and the view you have in the Revit file is what it's going to eventually render. So if you're going to change the view, you can fly around, you can figure out what you want to see here, but you want to change that back in the camera view just like you normally would in Revit. So you notice I've got cars, people, things like that. I'm gonna switch back over to the Revit screen here real quick. To add those, it's fairly simple. You're gonna go to this asset library here. And you're gonna click on it, and this dialog box is gonna pop up. And Enscape has all kinds of stuff in it. You can put a beverage can in it if you want. Like a lot of this is for like interior renderings that we won't necessarily need. The important ones are people. They've got lots of different people in here. You can pick what you want. Some of them are on scooters, some of them are carrying bags in a suit with shorts, all kinds of wacky stuff. Um, Vegetation has trees. You can place trees all the way around. There's all kinds of different trees, vehicles, cars, bikes, motorcycles, ambulances, all that stuff is here. Um, you can feel free to use whatever you like in here. Chad always likes to say it's fun to make a story with the rendering. If you got people talking or playing with a ball or uh, whatever, riding their bike down the street, whatever it is. That's kind of the fun part of this. So if you want to place one of these, let's go back into Lake View and I'll show you how this actually all works. If I wanted to put this car here, this sedan, let's do the elegant sedan. Oh man, you're gonna just click on it, and it's gonna think here for a second to put it into Revit. You want to make sure this level is the level you actually want it on. Usually it's gonna be 1. Usually, unless you're like placing people on like a porch or something, whatever it is. And then you're just gonna place it. You're just gonna click. And you can place multiples if you want. I can place like 4 of these if I want. And then you hit escape and then escape again. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna update Enscape over here. And voila, in real time, we've got our car here that's trying to double park this guy in. And you just mess with this until you've got an image you want. I hate that. I don't know what this is. I would have to look at this board Vatican if I were gonna look at that. But if you want to change the lighting, let me get like down closer to the ground, more like we normally. Want to change the lighting? You hold down Shift and then hold down the right click of your mouse. Automatically changes the time of day. Yes, we've got some lights in here that work. That's cool. Like if I were sitting here looking at, I don't know why this is all so light. I would want to check into this and see if I've got um, the pavement that I want in there. My guess is I don't, so I'd want to change that the way I just showed you guys. Stone, I remember that's exactly the stone they wanted. This I'd probably look into too. It's always good to put stuff in the fore. I usually will take this into like paint.net and like crop it when I'm done with it so I don't have like all this foreground here. But you don't want to be, I like to try to put stuff like in here in the foreground so it's not just empty space. And I try to crop out whatever is kind of empty space. When you're done, when you're ready to export it, you just do this screenshot. You just click it and it exports as a PNG. You're done. All right, that's a 42-minute video, so I'm gonna stop recording and just answer questions.